it's Emily here, and it is time for me to do my first half of May reading wrap-up, and I keep on meaning to film it, but I just haven't had the chance to, and yeah, so we're doing a car vlog. I have read 4 books, DNF'd 1 book, and I'm currently reading another book. So, of course, the very first book that I read this month, along with, a lot of booktube, was A Court of Wings and Ruin by Sarah J. Maas, the 3rd book in the A Court of Thorns and Roses series, trilogy. There are going to be, spin-off books, but this is, the conclusion for this section of the book trilogy. I really enjoyed it. Part of me really wonders if I should do a separate video for ACOWAR, just so I can really get into my thoughts and maybe do spoilers. But at the same time, I've been knowing my vlogging habits as of late, and I don't want to make promises that I can't keep. So, who knows? Maybe I'll do a video about ACOWAR. Maybe I won't do a video about ACOWAR. We'll see what happens. But I thought it was a really good conclusion. I really liked how it wrapped up. I liked where a lot of the characters ended up. There was a lot, I kind of feel like in the beginning and parts of the middle, that could have been tightened more, because it was a 700-page book, which is fine. I like long books. I love big books. But I also know that, it probably didn't have to be as long as it was. There were, some characters where I like what she did with them, but I want them to do more. Like Lucian, I really like what she did with Lucian, but I really wish there was more. He wasn't in it as much as I had hoped he would be. But, since there's going to be spin-off books, maybe that's when he'll get his time. Because I've always loved him, and I really wanted to see his character grow. I cried a lot. There was a lot of very stressful moments, and I really fell in love with a lot of the side characters this time around, which, I've always liked all the other side characters that we meet in the second book, ACOWAR, but man, I was all about them. Guys, Cass and Nesta, they're my new OTP. I just really want them to be together, and I want them to be happy. And I just want Az to be happy. And I want Lucian to be happy. And I just want all of them to be happy. Again, 4 out of 5 stars, maybe 4.5, but I really enjoyed it. And we're going to Starbucks now, because I had to be up at 5:30 this morning, and I'm not actually awake. Caffeinated! So I wasn't really quite in a reading slump, but I wasn't really sure what I wanted to read. And so I decided to read this book that I've had sitting on my Kindle for several months now, called The Boy Next Door. This was not a good life choice. And so if you don't like ranty videos, you can just skip ahead. But if you like ranty videos, well, then this is for you. I've been trying to read more books that feature characters with disabilities, particularly physical disabilities. That's what I can connect to, relate to. And I'm I shouldn't just give up like I have in the past, and I should give them a try. But then this book reminded me of why I gave up. So fat shaming. Her sister ends up getting engaged, and because of course, she has this existential crisis because her younger sister got married before her. Heaven forbid! And her grandmother's well, your sister is fat and ugly. And so she just settled for the first other fat and ugly person that would put up with her. And you shouldn't settle like that because you're not fat and ugly. And she was yeah, you're right, Grandma. My sister is fat and ugly. What? So then we get to the ableist stuff. And there were moments where actually it did a fairly decent job. And I really liked it, and talking about how he actually was really confident in who he was, and he like didn't feel the need to like have surgeries and stuff to fix him, and that was really cool. So there definitely were moments where it was okay. And literally anytime she ever mentioned his looks, she was like, oh, he was really cute, even though he was in a wheelchair. And I was all, no, the sentence should be, Jason was really sexy, end of sentence. And I could even understand how maybe the story is her learning to not be ableist. I mean, that would be a really terrible story, but if that was your defense, I could see that. But then, by the end of the book, that kind of language would stop. And that kind of language did not stop ever. And she kept on kind of like talking about his dating life and how, oh yeah, in high school he didn't really date a lot, and I think it's really hard for him to get girlfriends. But then she also described every single relationship, this long string of girls that he's dated through his life. But yet she still was like, I think it's really hard for him to get a date, and I feel really bad for him. And I'm like, why do you feel bad for him? He clearly can get a woman, and he doesn't need you. For some reason, he wants you, but he doesn't need you. And apparently this is like her thing. Like, she writes books about men with disabilities because she wants to show a different type of masculinity, which is awesome. And that's like a really great thing to do. But this book was so bad. I'm like, I don't know if I want to read you any other books. And so, like, if you're going to do that, do it right. And so it was so frustrating. It was so awful. I gave it 2 stars. The few moments where it had good stuff, gave it that extra star, where it wasn't 1 star. But yeah, 2 stars. Do not recommend. So then I've also been reading Still by Lauren F. Winters. This is a non-fiction faith-based book, and it was really, really good. And this book is more about kind of her mid-faith crisis. Her mom died, she got married, and then she got a divorce within like 5 years, and so she went through this really rough time, and this was kind of talking about that. And it was really good. Like, it's not exactly a memoir, and it's not really a book where it's like, this is what you do when you have a faith crisis. It was just kind of thoughts that she was having throughout it. And it was, I really appreciate that, because I don't really like, I mean, I appreciate books where when it talks about difficult times and faith struggles, and they're like, you can push through it, just cling to what you know, and like being really, really encouraging. Like, I appreciate those books, and I get them, and like I know why they exist, and they're good. But sometimes, like, you just want someone to like tell you, yeah, I feel that feel. And that's basically what this book was, and I really appreciated it, and I really liked it. I think I like Girl Meets God better, but I still really enjoyed this book. I just found it was very honest and very refreshing, and I really appreciated it, so 4 stars. And so then I was back to the whole like reading slump thing. And so then a friend recommended Melanie Dickerson to me, and I found one of her books, and it's described as a spy Regency romance. And I was like, Regency romance with spies? That sounds awesome! And so I downloaded it, and I started to read it, and this is the one I ended up DNFing. And it's not necessarily because there was anything particularly bad about it. Well, I enjoy it, it's cute, it's nice, but there wasn't anything really particularly spectacular about it. There was nothing about it that really made me get into the story and get into the characters. Some of the spy aspects of it weren't really all that exciting. I mean, granted, I was maybe halfway through, and so maybe more of that stuff comes as the story goes, but it wasn't happening fast enough for me. And so maybe I'll go back to it one day. It just wasn't holding my attention for now, so that was a DNF. And so then I randomly got in the mood for Shadowhunters. And I remembered that I've had the Bane Chronicles sitting on my iPad for like years. And so I was like, I love Magnus Bane. He's my favorite. I'm gonna read that one. And guys, why was I procrastinating so long on reading it? It was so delightful and wonderful. It was just like these 11 short stories about Magnus Bane, and it was this like delightful like journey through time and seeing his adventures. But then it also like hit me in the feels way more than I anticipated. But like, it's Magnus Bane, and he's just so like, I'm Magnus Bane, I'm fabulous, let's go on an adventure, which there totally was that, and it was awesome. But then there were definitely moments where it was like total feels, and it was really good. And so now I'm definitely gonna get back on the Shadowhunter train, and I requested Tales from Shadowhunter Academy because I haven't read it yet, and from my library, so I should be getting that soon. And then I'll go on to Lady Midnight, and I'm super excited. So yeah, the Bane Chronicles, 4 stars. And now I am currently reading The Bourne Identity by Robert Ludlum, I think that's how you say his name, because this was kind of like during my slump where I was like, I don't know what I want to read. I was sharing my woes with Sarah from Sarah Ann Reads, and she was like, have you ever read like just like a pure action novel? And I was like, I don't think I have. Like, what would be a pure action novel? And she was like, what about the Jason Bourne books? So I actually ended up finishing The Bourne Identity last night after I filmed. So I just kind of wanted to pull out my camera again and give you a quick review of it. It was good. I don't know why I thought reading an action book was a good idea though, because I don't really watch a whole lot of action movies. And whenever I read action scenes in books, my mind kind of glosses over, like my eyes gloss over, and I can't really follow it and understand what's going on. So an entire book that's based on action scenes probably was not the best idea for me. And oh my god, I really overdid it with my blush this morning. So I apologize for that. Anyway, premise was really good, and it just had to take a lot more focus than I normally would have. I couldn't read it in small spurts. Like, I had to find times where I could really sit and focus and read, because otherwise I would be reading it and I'd be like, I have no idea what's going on. And that's not really the book's fault. That's just a me thing. And then the one thing that was the book's fault that I wasn't a huge fan of is that there was, again, like Mistborn, literally one female character that had any consequence. So there was a couple other side characters, but pretty much just one female character. And she had a really great potential to be an awesome character, but I felt like there was missed potential, and maybe that changes as the series goes on, because there's like 12 books or something in the Jason Bourne series. And so I hope that her character does grow throughout the series. I don't know if I'm going to continue with the series, not because it wasn't good, it was entertaining, but I'm just not into action because I can't follow it. So yeah, so I ended up giving it 3.5 stars. Mainly because of my own personal enjoyment. Like, I can totally understand like why people who enjoy action books and movies really enjoy this story. And I haven't seen the movie yet, but we'll see. Anyway, so yeah, 3.5 stars to The Bourne Identity. So wow, that video ended up way longer than I anticipated. That's what I've been reading so far this month. A decent reading month, even though I've kind of been torn on what I wanted to read, and there was that dud in there. But let me know what you've been reading this month. And if you've read any of these books, tell me your thoughts on them. And what's the worst book you've read recently? Yeah, that'd be great. Anyway, thanks so much for watching. I'll see you later. Bye.